The Soul's Thirst and Satisfaction by Alexander Maclaren. My soul thirsteth for thee. My soul shall be satisfied. My soul followeth hard after thee. Psalm 63, verses 1, 5, and 8. Here we have the soul thirsting for God. Now the psalmist is a poet, and has a poet's sensitiveness to the external aspects of nature, and the imagination that delights in seeing in these the reflections of his own moods. So very beautifully, he looks upon the dreary scene around, and sees in it symbols of the yet drearier experience within. He beholds the gray monotony of the waterless wilderness, where the earth is cracked with clefts that look like mouths gaping for the rain that does not come. And he recognizes the likeness of his own yearning spirit. He feels the pangs of bodily weariness and thirst, and these seem to him to be but feeble symbols of the deeper seated pains of desire which touch his soul. Of course, the occasion of his longing was his seclusion from the outward worship of the sanctuary. The stage of revelation and religion at which he stood made the connection between form and spirit more intimate than it ought to be with us, who know that neither in Gerizim nor in Jerusalem is God's throne. But while thus the occasion of his longing belonged to the era in which he lived, the substance of it is permanent. All men thirst after God. The unrest, the deep yearnings, the longings and desires of our natures, what are they all except cries for the living God? Tendrils which are put forth, seeking after the great prop which alone is fit to lift us from the mud of this lower world. But the misery is that we do not know what we want, that we misinterpret the meaning of our desires, that we go to the wrong sources for our need, that when our souls are crying out for God, we fling them worldly good and say, "There, satisfy yourselves on that." A man that has a wild thing in a cage and does not know what its food is, when he hears it yelping, will cast to it what he thinks may suit it, on which it eagerly springs, and then turns from it in disgust. So men seek to feed their souls on the things of earth, and all the while, what they are crying for is not earth, but God. Hence the desire is misery, and longing, instead of being the prophecy of blessedness, is pain. We resort to muddy pools and broken cisterns, and try there to slake our thirst in vain. O brethren, if we would give heed to the deepest voices within, we should make fewer mistakes in the ordering of our lives and in the selection of our aims, and should therefore save ourselves from many an ache and from the fever of many a thirst that we never shall satisfy apart from God. Shipwrecked sailors drink salt water in their wild thirst, and it makes them mad. Travelers in the desert are drawn by the mirage to seemingly shimmering lakes fringed with palm trees, and it is nothing but sand. My soul thirsteth for thee. Let us interpret the desire aright. Let us see to it, too, that since we believe, or say we believe, that God is our chiefest good, the intensity of the longing bears some proportion to the worth of the thing being desired. Can there be anything more preposterous, anything in the strictest sense of the word more utterly irrational than tepid wishes for the greatest good? Can it be anything but lunacy for men to let the whole swift, strong current of their affections run towards worldly things, and only a dribble to be let off to flow towards that which is their true good? What would you think of a man that had some feeble wish after health or life, or for the beloved of his heart to be his own? And what shall we say of men, whose very profession declares that their estimate of God is that He is the best and only home and strength of their hearts, and who yet, if they were honest with themselves, would acknowledge that they do not wish for Him 1/10 part as much as they do for prosperity in business, the gratification of their ambitions, the satisfaction of their affections, the success of their purposes, or the attainment of their fleeting desires. This psalmist was making no exaggerated statement when he said, "My soul thirsteth, and my flesh pines." Does not his eagerness shame our lack of earnestness? Cold wishes for God are as flagrant in absurdity as cold sunshine. Religion is nothing if it not fervor.